Hi, my name is Annie, and welcome to the Walking Word. We are finally at the end of the book of Deuteronomy. So, we finished the first five books of the Bible, which were written by Moses. And we're now in chapter 34, which is the death and burial of Moses at the end of Deuteronomy. Then Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, where God told him to go die. The headland of Pisgah, which faces Jericho, and the Lord showed him all the land, Gilead as far as Dan, all Naphtali, the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah as far as the western sea, the Negeb, the circuit of the Jordan with the lowlands at Jericho city of palms, and as far as Zoar. The Lord then said to him, "This is the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that I would give to his descendants. I have let you feast your eyes upon it, but you shall not cross over." So there in the land of Moab, Moses, the servant of God, died, as the Lord had said, and he was buried in the ravine opposite Beth Peor in the land of Moab. To this day, no one knows the place of his burial. Mhm. Because who buried him in the first place? If he was alone walking the mountain with God, who buried him? And it says, as the Lord had said, and he was buried in the ravine opposite Beth Peor in the land of Moab. Who buried him? If all the Israelites have walked and crossed the Jordan, only Moses has been told to go up Mount Nebo. Who buried him? Now Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom, since Moses had laid his hands upon him. And this is where certain giftings and St. Paul, and Paul speaks about this in the epistles and as he's exhorting Timothy, and he says, which you received by the laying of hands. So there are some impartations that come by laying of hands. This is why just not any you don't allow anybody to just lay their hands on you. Mhm. Oh, sorry, we were in verse 7. I skipped to verse 7. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were undimmed and his figure unbated. So he didn't grow old. He was old in age, older in age, but not in physicality. For 30 days, the Israelites wept for Moses in the plains of Moab, till they had completed the period of grief and mourning for Moses. Mhm. Now Joshua son of Nun was filled with the spirit of wisdom, since Moses had laid his hands upon him. And so Israelites gave him their obedience, thus carrying out the Lord's command to Moses. Since then, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses. Since then, we haven't seen a prophet, and the many prophets we'll look into coming up, including Joshua, but none had risen up like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. They knew each other face to face. He had no equal in all the signs and wonders the Lord sent him to perform in the land of Egypt against Pharaoh and all his servants and against all his land. And for the might and the terrifying power that Moses exhibited in the sight of all of Israel. The end of the book of Deuteronomy. So there's no one else, no other prophet that has performed greater wonders than Moses. And here only a few are captured. In the Bible, only a few are captured. For it says, Moses exhibited might and terrifying power. For we are all created in the image and likeness of God. Tomorrow we start from the book of Joshua.